Hey everybody, how are you today? Mike Caluzzi here, and welcome to my video podcast today. So you could find me at mikecaluzzi.com. That's mikecaluzzi.com. And when you get there, you're going to see two big words: get clear. That's really what it's about. It's about getting clear on your goals in business and in life. And as I mentioned, throughout every time I start a video and through even on my welcome video, is that, my purpose in life is to assist you to get clears on your goals in business and in life. And I have found that over the course of my 25-year career, that one of the most compelling reasons as to why so many people fail to achieve lasting success in their life is due to a lack of clarity. And as the lack of clarity continues to pervade our life, it really keeps us stuck in a state of mediocrity. It keeps us open to too many diversions, and it really is a recipe for failure. So it's about getting clear in your value proposition and in your purpose so you can truly achieve your full potential. So that is my purpose, to assist you to get to that process in your life so you again can achieve your greatest and highest best potential in this world and in this life of yours. So today I have I think a very interesting topic that I hope you find helpful. And at the end of the day, what I do is, we're all products of our environment, of course, right? And how we interpret all these types of things. And I'm just like you. If you're watching this video, more than likely you are somebody who is looking to achieve better results in their life somehow, looking to gain some wisdom from some other people, hear different insights from other folks. So that's really what's attracting all of us together, and as to what's really probably attracted you to this video. So today it's talking about getting intentional with your business. Okay, that is a major component. I think so many of us really kind of go through life without a real clear plan. We get jobs that we feel grateful for, but ultimately they're really not in alignment with our highest and best use. So we really kind of get complacent, and when we get complacent, or we may even feel grateful for those jobs. But the fact of the matter is when we look at these jobs as some type of saving grace or some type of artificial safety net, oftentimes it keeps us really from achieving our really highest and best results. So what we want to do is talk more specifically to get really clearly intentional with your business. Now, if you are in a job and you really love what you're doing, then guess what? It's about time that you want to step that up. You want to bring it to a whole nother level where you're setting clear, purposeful intention on where it is that you want to proceed in that particular field. But if you're someone who is stuck in a job, or you're stuck in some type of situation where you could be doing better, then the goal is to start with some of the foundation. That is, number one, setting a clear path for your business. So I'm going to go through, I wrote down 9 things today. We're going to go through each one of those. So the first one is abandon the idea of being set in your ways, right? In other words, we've all heard it. Get out of your comfort zone. That's usually just a major component, and so many of us are just operating at such low levels of where our true potential is because we stay stuck in our comfort zone. That's something that we really want to change. So we want to abandon the idea of being set in our ways, because here's what happens too. We think, we tell ourselves, oh, well, I've been doing it this way for such a long time, or I've been quote unquote born this way, or, it's just the way I'm wired. That there is an element, I'm going to tell you, look, if you study, human genetics, there are a genetic component as far as how our behaviors are kind of established, where we're predisposed to possibly be more susceptible to certain types of behavior. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we could not get beyond that, or we cannot kind of evolve to really refine our skills or develop other skills, so we're not kind of just simply stuck in some type of story that quite frankly was formulated a long time ago, well before us. And then we come into this world, and what happens? Our parents, if we're fortunate enough to be raised by our parents, I mean, not everybody has those situations, but if whomever raised you, obviously they impart their value systems on you so that you could quote unquote survive in this world, and then it resonates forward and then it's just like anything else. We start to repeat those same processes over and over again because they become familiar. So we have to understand that if we want to achieve something different, we want to go above and beyond where we're at, the only way that's going to happen is if we develop new sets of skills, new sets of habits, and really new sets of beliefs on an ongoing basis. So that is super important. So abandon the idea of being set in your ways, number one. Number two, be intentional with your daily action. What does that mean? Well, ask yourself this question. Are you someone who, I know these are probably things that are simple, but who follow? Not many people follow this. Are you operating off of a list each day? Are you operating off of a set goal? Are you operating with a clearly defined why and purpose? Right? That's what brought me to developing this website, because quite frankly, for the longest time, I know I was not really defining my life with a clearly defined purpose. And, it's like a rudderless ship, you kind of sail around the harbor, but you're not getting anywhere. So you have to really be intentional with your daily actions that are aligned with a larger goal that you are working towards. That's super, super critical. Number three, adopt a fluid approach to business and in life. What does that mean? That's another way of basically saying going with the flow. Now, when I say that it's all about kind of embracing the process and embracing, the circumstances that come into your life in a way that you're not really being overly resistant or confrontational, right? Because think about it. There's a great book by David Hawkins, whom is an amazing doctor who studied the brain and studied human behavior, and he has some amazing books. And one of those books is called Power versus Force. It's kind of a deep dive, I'm not going to lie. It's but it's definitely worth diving into. But one of the things in that book, Power versus Force, is really goes into the idea of, if you think about it, we talk about all the things that happen that really impact people in a positive way. They're through empowerment. There's power when people are empowered to do things. When we force things, what usually happens, there's resistance, there's friction, right? We want to be able to essentially go with the flow, empower ourselves, roll with the punches, and really understand that we have to be really duck and move, adapt to the changed circumstances, because we live in a very complex world, right? We live in a very complex environment, and we have innumerable variables that happen each and every day that we have to adapt to, right? And not personalize and internalize them to think that these are somehow just happening to us. It's happening to everyone, right? We all are subject to these obstacles. It's just who can navigate through them and not internalize them and personalize them, and really just be able to, you kind of become like someone who's like Teflon in a way. You let things brush off and you move on, and you allow things to really just flow. That's super, super key. Number four, adopt a mindset of continued improvement or continual improvement. Okay, again, it's one of those situations, if you're looking in the mirror, ask yourself, are you really doing what's required to consistently advance your baseline? That's the way I like to use it, is, are you advancing your baseline every day? It's, if you go to the gym and you're doing the same thing every day and you're not pushing yourself, what happens? Your body kind of hits a plateau. Well, our brains and our lives operate the same exact way. If we are not really setting new standards, I say new baselines, that, guess what? We're going to remain in a place where complacency kind of operates, and we stay within these comfort levels that we feel are really quote unquote safe. You gotta eliminate that. You have to really go and challenge yourself on an ongoing basis, and that means in all elements, by the way. Sometimes I talk to people and they, they'll be the type of person who will say, oh yeah, I read books, or I do this or that, but I don't exercise. No, I don't have time for that. Or you got the person who's at the gym all the time, but they don't improve their brain. Look, you need to improve your body, your mind, your spirit, your intellect, it's a whole combination, right? Because our mind and our bodies are really one being that really allows us to function in this world, and they all have to be continuously fine-tuned. We have to work on both of them. They all work in concert together so that we could really achieve higher results and get better results in our life. So adopting a mindset of continual improvement will help you get there. So challenge yourself. It's okay to go to the gym, and if you're leaving that gym and you're not sore, or if you're reading something and it's all the same stuff over and over again, you're not challenging yourself, or maybe, hey, you have to read that a couple times, or you have to maybe contemplate it, then guess what? You're not pushing yourself the way you need to. So another thing with that, what would be great is accountability partners work extremely well. And that's why, I'm going to be working within the relatively short future. We're going to be setting up a Facebook group where people can interact with one another in that private group to really challenge each other and kind of really work to apply a lot of these principles that we all feel are so vital to our development and improvement in our life. So, number 5, being proactive and let go of being overly cautious or overreactive. So that's a dense one in the sense of, obviously, being proactive is things that we just talked about. But one of the things as far as letting go of being overly cautious, again, that's a big challenge for a lot of people. Now, I'm not talking about being reckless. I'm not talking about being careless. But if you kind of tell yourself, hey, you know what, I don't want to do this, and you're kind of projecting some type of negative outcome that doesn't exist in reality, but it keeps you stuck from actually going into some new directions, I'm gonna really challenge you to just abandon that level of thinking. I've shared this with people in the past, and I'll share it here again. Doing these videos, they're not easy for me. I was someone who suffered from anxiety for a long time. I was always really afraid of bad outcomes. I always would kind of poison my own opportunity by filling my head with thoughts and ideas of possible failure, and that kept me stuck, and that limited my ability to really reach out and achieve new things. So I started to force myself to move forward in some new directions, and that meant in all components of my life. It meant, on the physical side, when I was approaching 40, I was way overweight. I lost 45 pounds. I began a workout regimen that's continued up until, I'm in my present day. I'm 48 now. A few years back, I remember I was really complacent with my exercise routines. I had a business coach who basically said, hey, you know what, I want to try something new. And I did. I got involved in jiu-jitsu 3 years ago, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And it's a challenge. And, I'm constantly getting told by people, oh, why you do that? You're too old. And yeah, I've had more than my fair share of injuries. I'm just recovering from a knee surgery. But I can't wait to get back on those mats because they challenge me. And that's an intellectual exercise. It's a physical exercise. And it takes patience to get good at that. So that's why I continue to do that. So ask yourself, what are you doing, right? What are you doing to kind of really take some chances, right? Get out there. So don't be overly cautious. And when I talk about being overly reactive, that's the thing where, you kind of have to let things kind of play out a little bit as well, right? Patience is really critical. And also it's important for us not to personalize some setbacks, personalize some unforeseen circumstances that, some people will feel that, geez, this is throwing them completely off the rails. The bottom line is if you've studied anyone who's been super successful over a long period of time, they have overcome insurmountable obstacles, and it's going to come on an ongoing basis. So you have to just embrace that. You have to embrace that life is about overcoming the challenges, and that's the beauty of it. That we have the strength and we have this beautiful brain that we've been gifted with to get past those challenges. So that's number 5. Number 6, have a vision beyond your current circumstances. Right? That's where we talk about the power of visualizations, the power of writing down our goals. I just got done writing a prophecy letter, which is a letter that I wrote to myself that will be opened up on December 31st of 2019, right? We're ending the year of 2018. So now I wrote a letter to myself as where I will be in the core areas of my life, in my business, in financial situations, in my personal relationships, with my physical body, and then with my family and my friends and the charitable work and things that I do. So those are really, really, really important to do. You want to have those powerful, positive visualizations. Is where do you want to go? And that aligns also with what we talked about earlier about, being intentional with your actions, writing your goals down, and moving towards that direction. So imagine, have a vision beyond your current circumstances. And also imagine your future best self, right? So many of us spend a lot of time in our heads, right? And we spend a lot of time in our heads where we're beating ourselves up for a variety of different reasons. This brain of ours is an amazing, amazing tool, an amazing gift. And one of it, and we've all heard of the fight or flight response. We've all heard of situations where, our subconscious minds are kind of designed to keep us safe, right? And oftentimes that's not really where we're functioning at our best, So we have to understand that we have to be able to kind of learn to go beyond the default setting of our brain, which is usually along the lines of kind of following the path of least resistance, the path where we're not rocking the boat, or trying to stay safe. And we have to kind of envision ourselves kind of higher and better than we currently are, right? And live in that space. And that really ties into number 8, which is act as if you've already achieved the goal, right? Because it's not about being arrogant. It's not about also living in some fantasy, but it's about your mindset. It's about, how you're setting yourself up to have a mindset of prosperity. I basically use the analogy of physical health, financial abundance, and prosperity. That's really what it's all about. Having a body and a mind that is fit and healthy, that we work and exercise each and every day, and developing a prosperity consciousness. So many of us get hung up on, again, like the obstacles, and we don't realize that we live with abundance all around us, with amazing opportunities that if we are patient, right, and we dedicate our lives to developing the habit, skills, and mindset to really achieve a level of competency and create value for people, to which we can then have the right financial mindset where we can welcome financial abundance in our life, then we'll give up far beyond our potential and we'll kind of just stay stuck. So we've got to act as if we've already achieved it, and that's really about a mindset issue more than anything. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about really real quickly is, plan for the setbacks. Now I know that sounds a little bit counterintuitive, right? But the reality is if you're constantly in this state of, look, positive thinking and everything is amazing, but when you do visualizations and you're thinking about outcomes, you've got to recognize that in order for you to get to an outcome that you are looking to achieve, you have to understand that there are going to be setbacks. There's going to be challenges that you didn't foresee, that you're going to have to level up for. And you've got to work through that process so you can get the mental state to understand how to achieve and get beyond those setbacks. Because so many of us kind of focus purely just on positive visualization with respect to the outcome. And that's great. But when you're in the throes or the heat of battle, you've got to be prepared to get beyond those moments where you're going to give up, or you may give up because you're getting your butt kicked, or you're exhausted, or you're tired, or you're out of money. I mean, all these things are possible when you are stepping out into these new areas. Because one of the things I always mention to folks is there's no guarantees to any of this, but one thing you will be guaranteed that is if you don't take some of these things that I'm saying to you and start applying them to your life, the one thing you will be guaranteed is you're going to be stuck in mediocrity. And that's really, again, kind of tied into what we talked about as far as getting clear with your value proposition and your purpose. So I hope those are helpful for you. And if you find that they were helpful, feel free to share this video with your friends and your family. You can like and comment on this post that I have here. You can go to my website, mikecaluzzi.com. You can join my mailing list. You can connect with me on social media. I have some really cool resources right on the website that will assist you to take immediate action, which is so critical. I have a clarity questionnaire that will kickstart this process for you. It's like a quick start clarity questionnaire, I call it, where it kind of just asks 5 basic questions that you go ahead and answer. And what's great is that I'll be able to see those answers, and we'll be able to schedule a time to go over them, right? Because it's really about accountability. And then there's a much more thorough questionnaire that I go through with people as we move down that process, and I'll be able to share those, how to get your hands on those as well, and how to take that. So again, my name is Mike Caluzzi. You can find me at mikecaluzzi.com. I hope you found this video helpful. I wish you an awesome day, and I'll talk to you soon.